Hello everyone and welcome here on a very early morning to Prague in the Czech Republic. Last night I took an overnight coach from Bratislava in Slovakia to here in the Czech Republic. Got here about 5:30 this morning. I've had a McDonald's breakfast and I'm really tired. I don't know how much sleep I got on that overnight coach, but I've got here. I'll fly out later on this evening, but I've got plenty of things to do while I'm here in the Czech Republic. However, the architecture of this city so far, of just what I've seen, is really impressive. I've really liked Bratislava, and when I got here in Prague, I was like, oh no, I'm not liking the look of this. I think at that point, I'd only just woken up, I was just a bit moody, and the city looks absolutely massive. I'm not a big fan of, oh my God, look how many pigeons are just flying about. I'm not that much of a fan of like really big cities, so it put me off at first, but I'm giving it a second chance, and I like it so far. Just walking across this bridge, it's actually 7 in the morning. I started to see a couple of tourists, but I mean, look at these views from over here. Absolutely beautiful. And even on the other side, I mean, coming to these places with absolutely no idea on anything, I think is actually really good, because that up there is reminding me of some sort of Great Wall of China, just like a wall going through a mountain. Around the bridge, you've got these old school buildings, you've got some sort of photography going on over there. Definitely that time in the morning where you're getting a lot of joggers as well. So many people running past, and what a beautiful place to go for a run. Well, I tried doing a bit of research and finding things to do. I found the world's narrowest street apparently. Of course it's shut, doesn't open until 11:30. Let's have a look down here. It's a bit of a scum actually, it's just some steps. So it's been alright for doing a bit of research. Best things to see in Prague. Clearly not the best thing to see in Prague. It just looked like an alleyway with some steps. Just decided to rest near this river. Absolutely no clue what's going on. There's like some sailors here. I don't even know, like, are they meant to be tanks? I have no clue what's going on. However, there is one other thing I really want to see in Prague. I am actually going to 2 football games today, or I'm at least going to try to anyway, but there's one big thing that I want to see in Prague, and it is the main reason I diverted coming here to fly back from Prague instead of Bratislava, and I'm going to head there now. And while I'm away from the central of Prague, got on that tram, I'm now literally what is the middle of nowhere, walking up another hill. This is literally all I ever do on this channel. But what I am approaching now is technically the biggest stadium in the world. Bigger than the one that's 150,000 in North Korea. Twice, nearly 3 sizes of Wembley. And I'm just going to have a look around. But behind me, as you can see, is the Great Strahov Stadium. And I'll tell you what, it doesn't look too great from the outside, especially its condition over the years. The wear and tear and the graffiti have really just damaged the outside of this very nice stadium, I assume, back in the day. Built in 1926, this place has a capacity of 250,000. It was built between, obviously, the First and the Second World War, and it was never really a football venue. Technically, it's abandoned. Technically, it's in use. It's now owned by AC Sparta Prague, and as of 2019, they haven't really hosted any major sporting events, but Sparta Prague do host some youth games here. It's also their training ground, and I believe this is where their women's team play as well. Now, most videos I've seen of this place, pretty much everyone has gone inside, but this stadium is 9 times the size of a normal football stadium as it is, because the main pitch is actually 9 football pitches separated. There's loads of people here. I'm hoping they're actually going to do something. As you can see, part of the stadium that was once just a pitch is now the main office and training ground for Sparta Prague. I mean, from the outside, this place is absolutely huge, and there's so many different gaps of where you can see inside. And it's crazy because obviously this stadium is so old, and this is how the old Soviet style stadiums were built. You've got the entrances here, the steps that would go up to the concourse, and it's very different than any other stadium I've been to, just for the fact that it is just steps. There's no separate gates around it. But just from down here, I'll be honest, the sizes of the stands are not that big, but it's just the scale of it. Crazy though. I mean, look, there's a volleyball pitch, and there's plenty of football pitches here as well. I mean, just to put on a scale of how big Prague is, there is the biggest stadium in the world. We've got these 2 big towers here. And come look at this view over here. We'll have a look at that. I mean, essentially, they have just built an absolutely massive stadium, the biggest one in the world, on top of a hill here in Prague, which is absolutely crazy to think of. And the architecture as well, it's all very, very similar on all four of the sides, and it just shows of that classic basic look that they were going for back in 1926 where they started constructing this place. Now though, it's pretty weird to see what's going on in here. It's a caravan, it's just literally anything you can possibly think of they seem to have in here. And well, as we haven't found a way in as of yet, this is the first proper view I've got of the Great Strahov Stadium. I think it just shows the scale of this place. I mean, there's a real uniqueness to it. Every single stand looks completely different. There's some work going up there with the scaffolding. But a 250,000 seater stadium, 220 I believe seated, doubt any are heated. And here is the entrance. It says the Great Strahov Stadium. I literally had one sticker left when I left for this trip, but I had to save it for this place. It's probably the one in the worst condition, but there it is. And as you can see, right next to the Great Strahov Stadium, there is another stadium. This one's got a big athletics track on it. And there's another one the other side of that. Love the look of them floodlights though. A lot better than the non-existent ones on the world's biggest stadium anyway. Finally, I found an entrance after walking around this whole place, looking out of the Great Strahov Stadium. And this is well and truly the view. Have a look at that. Now, just for some context for the video as well, we started around about over there. We've walked all the way around the stadium to here to try and find a way in. And just as I was about to think that there was no way I was ever going to get in here, here I am. But honestly, this is the biggest stadium I will ever visit. I highly doubt I'll ever find a football stadium any bigger than this. And the one in North Korea that they say is like 150 or whatever thousand seats. And even then, I highly doubt I'm going to be bringing you guys along to North Korea for a little ground up. Like, just for the scale wise, that is the size of one football pitch, right? And there is pretty much the room for 9 of them here. That is just how big this is. Height wise, yes, it's not as big as Wembley, it's not as big as the Bernabeu. Gosh, it's probably not even as big as the CBS looking at that stand, but the whole scale of this place is so impressive as well. And the 250,000 capacity, I'm sure a bit of that might have been for some of the events, for example music events that happened, as they wouldn't have had these pitches back in the day. For anyone wanting to visit this place, by the way, I'm here on a Saturday at around about 8:30 in the morning, and the main entrance to the main stand was open. I literally walked up, didn't have to speak to anyone. I'm sure every other video probably has a bit of information on the best way of getting in here. I just have decided not to listen to that bit of information. I only took in the bits that I find quite interesting, and when I've come here, had no idea how I'm actually meant to get in. I'm not sure whether I've got really lucky being able to get into this area or what. I mean, I'm assuming this would have actually been the more expensive seat, seeing as this bit has a roof, and nowhere else in the stadium actually has a roof. That corner there does, but everywhere else doesn't. So I'm assuming that this would have been the more expensive seats back in the day. And as for what was this stadium used for, well, it was never really used for football. It was sports like gymnastics. The biggest gymnastics tournaments would happen here. Many big historical events in World War II and around that time also happened in this stadium. So it's really fascinating to come here. And look, I didn't do history in school. Believe it or not, I did geography, and everywhere I go, I still don't seem to know what anything seems to be. But this place is crazy. And I get it, Man United want to build a 100,000 seater stadium around a pitch this size, and yes, that is going to be impressive. And you know, some of those really steep stands in Europe, the likes of the Bernabeu, they're really impressive as well. But there's just something about this old school ground, even the terrace in here, I just love it. I absolutely love it. So yeah, that is my visit to the Great Strahov Stadium. If I ever do come back, it will definitely be for some sort of game. They do have women's football here, like I said, under 19s, under 21s. So if I ever come back to Prague and one of these games tend to be happening, I'll be definitely going to one. Anyway, back to watching football on this little trip. Today is the final day of the trip. I've come to the Czech Republic, and in England is actually non-league day. And as there's no professional football on in the Czech Republic this weekend due to the international break, I'm going to a couple of non-league games that I've found on Footballogy. Don't know much about either team. I'm just going to be going to the ground, hoping that it's a decent game anyway. Well, then we've arrived at the ground. We're about 20 minutes away from kick-off. The players are just warming up. First game of the day is actually a women's football game. I wasn't actually aware of this until I've got here, but you know, football is football, and the ground is pretty nice, to be fair. I really like that stand there. Seems like a decent facility. I've never ever seen seats like this at a football ground before, but as it goes, it's really not a bad facility at all. And the teams are out for this big game. God, what an atmosphere. Well, there's some entertainment here anyway. We're, what, 3 minutes into the game? 3 minutes in? And there's been a goal, header at the far post. Well, Prague take the lead, and just for a little bit of context, by the way, they haven't won a game all season, but FC Prague are just above them, and they've only won one game all season. So if one of these teams win today, it's absolutely massive. This was an 11 a.m. kickoff, and the game we're going to later kicks off at 3, which is good because it gives us 2 hours to get from one side of Prague to the other. And the other game is quite close to the airport where we've got to fly out of, so it's just absolutely perfect to do a little bit of ground hopping. Here, Prague are in here, 1-on-1 with the keeper. Oh. And now it's 2. A defensive error was pretty much a perfect pass. Then that ends up in a 1-2, just slots it past the keeper. And the visitors are 2-0 up, even though they haven't won a game all season. Coming away from home to would be brilliant as well. Big corner for Prague, whipped in, headed away. Balls to the woman on the box, it's a good shot. Hands to the keeper. And in fact, it's 3 before half time. Game, set, match for this away team who haven't won all season. I'll be honest here and say this is probably the first time since I left the UK 2 days ago I've actually been able to properly relax. And this is watching the game, sitting down, the sun's really nice, just a chilled out atmosphere. I mean, if you're an FC Prague fan, which there might be 1 or 2 here, you're probably not so chilled out 3-0 down. But hey-ho. At this point, the visitors just trying to up the score. Every time I film it, everyone's like, I swear to God, they've had 3 shots that I haven't filmed this game. All 3 have ended up in the back of the net. Oh, Prague have got one back. Didn't see it. I'm going to be totally honest. I'm so relaxed now. I'm literally... didn't see it. It's now 4 goals in this game. Not 1 on the video. But honestly, you can't beat it. We're making some changes. A bloke in jeans and a jumper is the 4th official here. Absolutely brilliant. And just heading around here as well. Me staying at Sparta Prague and pretty much everything. They've even got their own tractors. Well, there's just a couple of minutes left of this game. It seems that the home side, FC Prague, will be defeated at home against a team that haven't won all season. Top division of women's football here in the Czech Republic, and yeah, really decent facility, does the job. But this weekend still hasn't finished. Off to the next game, the final game of this trip. Just got on the metro. We're waiting for a bus, which is hourly in the capital city. What is going on? We've come to this doner kebab place to get some food on the way to our final game of this weekend. And we have landed in some random town just outside of Prague, right next to the airport. And when I say everyone on our bus got off at the same stop, I mean everyone got off at the same stop, and they're all heading towards this game, which is a bit exciting. At least there's going to be a bit of a crowd at this game. And I'm here at Prague Kompanina, and I just want to give these lot a shout out, by the way. We've had no Czech money, we've been trying to get some. I offered the guy euros, I offered to pay a card. He said no, just go through. It's a really weird one because it's actually a really good setup with the DJ up there. You've got a nice stand, but there's no floodlights. There wasn't floodlights at the ground earlier either. This is the 4th tier of Czech football, so this equivalates to the 11th tier in England. Here we go then, the boys. They don't know it. Some random lad from Coventry is backing them, but big game. Come on, boys, come on. Also, no floodlights yet. But where would you get this in non-league? Probably like National League North or below. Nowhere. Yes, come on, boys. I don't know what this walk is, though. I've never seen a walk-on like this, but hey, each to their own. The opponents, by the way, Slavia Karlovy. Well, a pretty slow start to the game. I got myself this kind of posh-looking cola. I don't know, looks posh, I guess. Also, just how quirky is this, by the way? And I love how small these dugouts are as well. Just, yeah, proper quirky ground, this. And unfortunately, the home side have gone a goal down. A direct header from a corner. Slavia are taking the lead. 26 minutes gone. Probably with the better team, if I'm honest. They've bossed the possession. Oh, big challenge. And it's a penalty. Not good. Kompanina could be 2 goals down for half time. Shoots. And he puts it into the back of the net. 2-0 to Slavia. And there is the half-time whistle. Kopanina with a free kick. He goes a bit too far as a free man. Into the box, go on. Shoot! Oh my! It's not going to happen for Kopanina, is it? They've had so many chances in this second half. They were poor in the first half, but they've had so many in this second half, and they're just not putting any of them away. Go on. Decent tackle. Kopanina have won the ball back. Into the box. Yes! Come on. 2-1. Oh no. That didn't last long, the comeback. I thought, you know, the boys would have at least got a point, but undeserved. And while we're into added time here, we've gone behind the goal. I think it's all done for Kopanina today. But I just want to say, this has been a very nice way to end the trip. A very, very cool ground to visit. A very unique one as well. Talk about a random day. This day in Prague has to be one of my most random ever ground hopping. And there we have it then. Full time here in Prague.